Hey everybody, today on Family by Design, I have the honor of interviewing Pastors Kent and Liz. I'm super excited for this conversation. We talked a lot about finding mentors and finding community for young people. And then as mentors, what do you do with that? How do you coach people? How do you love them and give them wisdom and all of those types of things? So this conversation is really going to bless you and really going to be key for your growth. And I hope you enjoy this time. Okay, so today I get to interview you guys.
Who gave you the authority to do that?
Well, the thing is I was invited to be on the podcast, and then you
took over.
Well, I wanted to, and then I asked, and you said
Every
yes. So here we are.
wants to take over.
Well, I wouldn't call myself a dictator, but here
You
I am.
asked
But
and
here
you
you are.
received.
Ask and you shall
a
receive.
delusional dictator.
You
Seek
have
and you
not.
shall find.
You have not because you ask not.
Yeah.
Or because you take not. But go ahead.
So basically, I
We're
get
glad
to
to be
interview.
interviewed. We're honored to be interviewed by you.
It's going to be really fun. I have great
Just
questions.
know whose name is on the podcast.
It's mine.
It's actually Family by Design.
Featuring Sarah Grace Johnson.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's going to be the only name on the podcast, actually.
You're right.
Because they know you're here already.
Okay.
Okay.
So is all of our or do you have it in with the editing team and stuff? Are they going to
I do.
bleep out everything we say?
Yep.
Like it's one big
My
cuss
questions
word?
are they going to be?
Oh my gosh.
Wouldn't that be weird if you took out all of our responses and like all the back and forth?
The people get to answer,
And they-
like an interactive.
Oh,
Yeah.
that would be
How would you
interesting.
answer this question?
Oh,
And
that's
then there's
fun.
just
That's not
silence so
even
they
cool.
could answer.
That's basically what a live is
It's
without
basically
being
cool.
live.
It's like Dora the Explorer, the interaction.
What are
Yes.
we talking about here?
Okay, here's what I'm gonna ask you questions today. And the first question I think that I have, and I think a lot of people that have similar questions, that as just a single adult that I'm not living with my family anymore, what are some ways that you could prepare to have a family, that you could prepare for marriage? What does that look like? And what are just the really practical things that you could do, as well as the ways that you prepare your heart for that season of your life? What do you wish you would have done differently?
So let me say this. I want to answer this first with a misconception.
Okay.
And here's a misconception. Younger people tend to think that they need to be around younger people.
Yeah.
And that is not how you prepare for adulthood. That's not
True.
how you become successful. If you want to be successful in business, you go and study underneath of somebody. You can go to school. You learn from professors and teachers that can teach you things about business. You go and sit underneath of somebody like that. The same thing goes with every area in life. But it's almost like when it comes to, especially in church, because that's really all of our world, because we all pastor.
Right.
In that realm, it's like we're always trying to get the kids to be with the kids, the adults to be with the adults, the youth to be with the youth. And that's fine to a certain degree, but you learn from being around people that have something to offer you. And that typically, generally speaking, is
Somebody
the
older.
older generations.
Yeah.
And so I think one of the very first mistakes that people do, and it doesn't mean that you don't need a peer group. The right peer group is very important.
Yeah.
But more important is that you sit underneath of the right people. To me, you're a prime example of this.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have at one point we did have a pretty large youth group, but it was more of an outreach thing,
Yeah.
like when you were in youth in our church. But you position yourself under people that could pour into your life. And most of the time I see people only wanting to be around people of their age, younger
Yeah.
people, and it doesn't prepare them for the future.
Yeah.
So if you're raised in a good home where you have, like you were, and you have that coming to you, just from being in that environment, that's a good thing. But you got to be intentional to be around people that can help you grow and step into what the Lord has for you.
Yeah, and
So the right community is good, but specifically an older community.
Yeah.
That's a right thing.
More experience.
right,
Yeah.
more, and honestly, like, look at the fruit that you're wanting. What do you want in your life? And then go find people who have or are producing that fruit and plant yourself or transplant or whatever into their life. Say, can I just come do life with you? Can I come be
Yeah.
around you?
Yeah.
And one time somebody said to me, well, I don't, they like the fruit, but they're like, I don't want to be a mom like right now. That's like not my aim or where I'm going towards right now. I was like, it's not about the fact that I'm a mom and a wife and all that. I was like, do you want to be around me because you want the fruit that it is. And because I am a mom and a wife and I have all these things, then you just come do life with me. And
fruit and assignment aren't the same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't mean that you can't be around somebody who is a mom because you're not ready for that season in your life and you feel like, oh, I'm going to miss out if I am a part of that. It's just because you need the wisdom, you need the fruit, you want the fruit, and you just go be a part of their life, which sometimes for a mom or whatever, it means you're going to fold some laundry, maybe help make dinner, and maybe help a child go to the bathroom.
That's right. It's about learning how to walk. I mean, because mostly our audience are mostly believers, mostly Christians, and so that's what I'm speaking to. But it's learning how to walk out your life in faith before the Lord.
Yeah.
The Bible says to imitate those who through faith and patience have inherited the promises.
Yeah, right.
So you can't go to people that haven't been there to get what you want. And what you want is to have a life that's blossomed in a relationship with the Lord that bears out in your life in your marriage, in your family, in your career, and going to school, wherever it is. Because for example, us as being biological parents, but being spiritual parents as well, what people draw from us it's not to where they imitate what we're doing, but they imitate our faith. Right. And you take those same principles, those same truths, and you apply it to your life. But you got to put yourself around the right people. So good company, right tribe is incredibly important.
Yeah.
I think that speaks to the question. I forgot what your question was.
Yeah,
now.
It's kind of how can you prepare? So I think you spoke a lot to community and building community.
Yeah.
I hear a lot of young people say like it's hard to build community. It's hard to know who I should spend time around. Maybe speak to that a little bit. What are some ways when you're looking at someone, hey, I want to get to know them. I like some of the things I'm seeing in their life, but how do I know who I'm really supposed to be connected with? How do I know the right moms to go to and say, hey, can I come help you clean your house and ask you questions? Or how do I know the right men to approach and say, hey, can I spend some time with you? What are some ways you can kind of know that when you're approaching that? How do you approach that with confidence?
It's a great question. So the first step is recognizing that you need it. So assuming that the person listening would be like, yes, I need some good company, whatever. I keep saying company. What's the word we're using? Community. Not company. Company could work too, whatever. But I need that right community. So how do I go about finding that? I think to me, everything comes back to a relationship with the Lord. The Lord will lead you and direct you in those things when you present your life before Him. He causes things to work out well for you. And trust Him that He's going to bring the right people. Yeah. Also, very practically, there's a balance of walking in faith and just using wisdom, practical wisdom. I think it comes back, and you kind of said this, but you look at people's fruit. Yeah. What's happening? What's going on in their life? Do they have peace? Do they have joy? Do they love the Lord? Do they love people? Are they? Do they have a good private life with the Lord? Those kind of things. And some of those kind of things you don't know until you get to know somebody a little bit. But usually by people's fruit, if you will observe, we're supposed to judge people's fruit. We're not supposed to be judgmental, but we are supposed to judge people's lives and look and see what's happening in their life. Yeah. And I think that, this doesn't have to be formal. As a matter of fact, I think that like professional fathering and mothering that's not what the church needs. It's not what the world needs. It's more organic to where you find yourself doing life with people. Yeah. So we have a perfect example here. You have a special relationship with Liz and I. The Lord made that connection, and you've just done life with us, almost like one of our own kids. I mean, you don't stay at our house or anything, but there's certain things for sure. Like we've taken you on vacations. Like from when it started out as you being a nanny, but then it really developed to where you were able to draw a lot of things from us. And so you had that sense of community for a lot of years while you were living here. We still take you on vacation. Yeah. But, so I think looking at people's fruit, but doing life with them, it doesn't have to be, and we've talked about this before, about how that people want to be like, mentor me, and you set up a mentor meeting, and it's kind of like, okay, tell me what's going on. Now let me tell you what you need to do.
Could be really inauthentic.
Yeah, and you could say whatever you want to at that time, but it's when you, like, Liz, you said, let me come do laundry with you.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to get involved in somebody that has something to offer, you go and serve them.
Serve 'em. Yeah, that's
serve
so good.
them, and it's easy to get next to them because the people that have the best stuff to offer are the busiest people.
Yeah.
If people want to draw from me, they need to come serve me.
Yeah.
Because they come serve me, they can help me, and they will be able to draw from what I have to offer them.
So
yeah,
good.
because a lot of times you glean things from people when you're working with them side
more
by
organic.
side.
Yeah.
You're just like having conversation, asking questions. And, you know, I think a lot of the younger generation says like, I want a mentor.
Yeah.
And so like in that perspective, I've heard it being like a mentor will only give you like a part or a piece of relationship. We're going to work on this part of your life and grow that.
Yeah.
Whereas like a mother or father will give you their whole life.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And so you'll come and do life with them. So I think in serving, it is a posture of humility, and you'll get more when you are humble
That's right.
to receive and when you're serving. You know, Jesus, I was just reading in John, and he said, you know, follow me, like follow my example.
Yeah.
And he began to wash the disciples' feet. And so he was serving them. He was saying like, you want to become the least, and then you'll become the most.
Right.
That's right.
Come beside and let's just do life together.
Yeah. That's
good.
And so I think that is so vital and so important, is that we can ask ourselves, am I say I want to grow. I
Yeah.
say I want to go forward. I say I want these things, but am I willing to humble myself and then go serve somebody
That's
else?
so good.
That's
Because
good. That's a good
in
word.
that place, that's where I have received the greatest
Yeah.
amount of treasures,
Yeah.
so to speak. And then as, you know, somebody older, a mother or whatever, that's the places that I've been able to pour the greatest. Like, it isn't like, oh, we're going to sit down and have this conversation and deal with this hard thing. It's like, no, we're folding laundry, and then we pause and we're just like having this great conversation.
Yeah.
You know,
and
and
we get the hard things.
So you can see this with the greatest people in the Bible. You know, you take Moses was serving Jethro
Yeah.
when he got called up and out, right?
Yeah.
David was serving his father tending sheep.
Mm-hmm.
Elisha was serving.
Elijah.
Well, before that, he was in the field plowing
Yeah.
ox, and that's when, or plowing with ox, and that's when he got called, and Elijah called him and put his mantle on him.
I was babysitting your kids.
Yeah, there you go. There you
Yeah.
go. Yeah, that's exactly right. So I think that's a great way to integrate. So I think looking for fruit in people's life that you want, if it's good fruit, then, and there also needs to be a Holy Ghost connection there.
Yeah.
It can't just be anybody, but the Lord will provide that.
Yeah.
I mean, He'll provide that. But then
Right.
when you do, just serve them. Stop looking for them to give you something. You give them something, and you watch how it gets multiplied back to
So
you.
good, and it makes it so simple. You know, there's so many ways to serve the people around you. Last little quick question here: what, maybe for you specifically, Liz, I think it can feel hard to bring people maybe into your mess to see all of your laundry. It can feel hard to
Right.
to invite younger people into that space with you and into that doing life with you. Maybe what would you say on the opposite end of this for a mom who might have a desire to sow into people? How can they practically invite people into their life to do life with them?
So I think you have to be okay with being who you are and knowing that that is enough, and not having an expectation of you have to pour specifically into them. It's just, you know, as you're confident in you,
Yeah.
at who God made you, that you're okay with who you are, then you just invite people over. You want to come hang out. Hey, I'm doing this project. Do you want to help me do this project? Hey, do you want to come over for dinner? By the way, if you're going to come over for dinner,
People
how
show up
about
for food?
how about you come a little bit early and make dinner with me? Because then
that's
we
good.
can have some great conversation
Yeah.
around then, and then we can sit down and have dinner together. So I think
That's good.
those are really, you just have to be okay. Like, here's the thing, make the decision that you want people in your life,
Yeah.
and then invite them in. It's about being hospitable.
Yeah.
I was going to say there's a whole foundation to this as well too, that you have to you have to come to a place to where you're hospitable. And because he's a hospitable God.
Yeah.
You know, he's always inviting us in, and sometimes people don't want to invite in. And for the Lord, I guess it's easier in the sense that he's perfect.
Yeah.
But as far as us, we're not perfect, and
Yeah.
we've got stuff to deal with. But this is, and the word we use a lot is just being authentic.
Yeah.
And so you've been okay. And this was and kind of, because you kind of aimed that question at Liz a little bit more. This was probably kind of a difficult thing for you because, you know, when you're raising kids, the house
Things are messy.
It's
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, you walked into the house yesterday, and I
is quite a
wasn't
story.
home yet, but Liz.
It's like a trail of groceries.
Yeah, so
And
some
a bomb explosion in
Yeah.
the kitchen.
yeah, and there was they're not literally a bomb.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're right.
Not literally.
We've had this
Very
conversation about how we say
Very-
literal and it's only figurative.
But there was a trail of groceries. The grocery bags were like broken, and then there was stuff like cold stuff on the counters.
So
It was looking crazy.
Here you were coming over, and there was a real authentic mess. You had
Yeah.
to go take a shower because you had salsa in your hair or something, right?
Like salsa got dropped and it
went
was
all
all
over the
over
place,
and
yeah.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
I thought
like,
you were kind of spicy, baby.
Then I added to the mess and broke a can of marinara sauce all over the place. So it was really authentic.
They went on the ceiling too.
Yeah.
No, I missed all this.
I had to
wasn't
clean
home
off
yet.
the ceiling. I was hoping nobody would walk in.
and then so what? Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say. So the thing is it's about being authentic.
Yeah.
That's the thing is you just have to be who you are. And if you are going to invest into somebody else's life, and you feel like you have to put on airs for them, then what are you really passing on to them?
Right.
You're passing on an unauthentic lifestyle.
Yeah.
Which is the exact opposite of what you want to do.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you don't clean your house up or whatever. You know, when we have guests come over, we try to you know, make it a little bit more spiffy or whatever
Yeah.
than normal. But that's just part of life, is that you just, you know, and part of inviting people into your life is you have to be real.
So
You have to
good.
be authentic. And here's the thing, and even going beyond a messy house, so people, like when we were on vacation, you know, I got really mad about something, and I had a reason to be mad, but I didn't have a reason to get mad like I did. And you know what? I had to eat a piece of humble pie and gather everybody up and say, guys, I'm sorry that I got mad like I did.
Yeah.
And because I know the power of being humble.
Yeah.
That I know that you guys didn't lose respect for me because I acknowledged that I was wrong.
Right.
You gained respect for
Yes,
me.
so much, yeah.
And when people learn to just be themselves and stay humble and invite people into that, you're causing other people to grow by your
Yeah.
example.
Yeah.
It's not because of all the wise words of wisdom that I've caused other people to grow. I mean, that's helped, but it's been that people have been able to examine my life and be
Yeah.
like, he's actually real. He actually lives out what he preaches.
Yeah, and I was gonna say too, like if you're waiting for the right moment, there won't be a right moment. And if I could ask you this question, do you remember, besides for yesterday, okay, because that's still fresh,
really
like.
fresh.
Out of all the times that you came over to the house or whatever, like, did you recognize, oh my gosh, this place was a wreck? Or do you have more memories of, oh, we had this great conversation
Yeah.
despite the things that were going on in the house?
Yeah, it's so funny because I think I have so many memories of us being in the kitchen, like when you would come home from a date night or whatever, and I had been watching the kids and standing around in the kitchen. It's like, I'm sure there were dishes, I'm sure things needed to be done, but just having conversations that really did change my life and helped me so much. And so I'm grateful to have been around people like that.
And here's the thing too, is I honestly, do we pay you to babysit?
I think you did sometimes, yeah.
But the thing is that
We did an exchange.
sometimes
Yeah.
we probably did. But the thing
Paid
is
these
that
vacations.
there was a heart in you. I just want to say this because kind of going back to the original conversation topic idea of this whole podcast here is about how do you step into I don't know, not just the more of your life, but be prepared for
Yeah,
what? How
just
do
be
we say?
prepared for the next season.
For the next season, yeah. And the thing is that if people always, this is one of the things I try and am trying even with our kids to get them to understand, is that you need to serve. Don't expect to be paid for everything. And when you have people that, because the reality is we're blessed, but I mean we don't have an unlimited resources. And if
Right.
the only way that you're going to go and serve somebody is if you get paid, that's stupid.
You're missing out.
You're totally missing out. And there was never this thing, not that we've been unwilling to pay you. I mean,
Right.
we've tried to bless you. I feel like we have and whatever, but But there was this thing to where you were like, hey, I'm here. And we never took advantage of that. But you're like, I'm here. I want to serve you. I want to help you.
I remember being upset when I couldn't. Like if it didn't work out for me to come. I remember that.
Yeah. But you reaped the benefits from it. I'm not saying Liz and I are all that in a bag of chips, but
we are.
But we're pretty amazing. But you reaped the benefits of it is the point. And it came back to so from your perspective, so we could just look at this. Weren't even going to say this, but I'll just pull this out. Our relationship that we've had with you, the dynamics that have made it be what it is that A, we've been authentic. We didn't try to pretend like we're something that we're not.
Yeah.
And then B, you also had a heart to serve and to come under and just do life with us.
Yeah.
Now we don't have that's special that the Lord's put between us and you, that we have maybe a higher level. We don't invite everybody to go on vacation with us because it wouldn't be a good fit.
Sure.
You know, we have that you've been like a kid to us. You've been like one of our own. And so in that sense it worked. But there's other ways that people can come in and serve those. And Liz and I are looking for everybody to come knocking on our door saying, can I mow your grass?
Yeah.
Although
Yes, you could.
Actually, right now that might be okay. But especially
This
the weed
is a
eating
very
part.
busy season.
Yeah, it
right?
is. That's not what we're looking for here. We're just trying to throw out like,
Full
how do you
season.
how do you make that thing work? And I also think that people shouldn't try to force it.
Yeah.
Because if there's not I'm going to use this word, if there's not an anointing on it,
Yeah.
then leave it alone.
Yeah.
You know, because it either could not be a right fit or not the right season for that thing.
Yeah.
So you can't force those things, but there should be something for the younger to look to the older.
Yeah.
And it's people, whenever you hear this from the messages from the pulpit, and I've been guilty of this as well, is that when you talk about like the older raising up the younger, it's always put on the older ones. Like you need to train the younger ones. Well,
Yeah.
sometimes the younger ones aren't trainable.
Yeah.
Sometimes they won't come and put themselves at a place to where they can be
Received
trained.
to be
Yeah.
You know?
Ask
Yeah.
questions. I think it's really important for young people to know. It's like ask questions, talk and bring up conversations that you want to know more about. Don't just expect that they're going to sit down and prepare some sort of thing
That's
for
it.
you.
You've asked
It's not
us
gonna work.
thousands of questions.
Yeah.
That's
and you're
exactly
going to
right.
get the best, most authentic things by watching people how they do their normal everyday life and then asking the right questions. I think
That's
those
right.
are really key things that you have to have ready. And because a lot of times I think what it turns into is like, I'm going to tell you all about everything that's going on in my life and we're going to sit here and fold laundry and you're going to listen versus, hey, I'm going to ask questions and yeah, I might need somebody
So
to
key.
confide in or whatever, but I'm actually going to put forth effort to draw from you so that it's easy for you.
That's
it's
right.
not like another thing you have on your plate. I'm here, I'm serving you, and then I'm drawing from you.
That's so good. And the thing is that people that have something to offer into your life, they're not mind readers.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's not up to them to be like, listen, young Padawan, let me tell you exactly, let's do our training session now. And this is what you need to know. Like people, you have to communicate that. You
Yeah.
have to say, hey, I've been thinking about this, or hey, I've been looking into this, or I've been questioning this, or I have this question. When you do that, you've now opened up the conversation for them to speak specifically into that area that you're thinking
Yeah.
about, that you're dreaming about, that you're praying about. And that's how that works. And that's very practical, but that's how relationship works well like that. We've learned this over the last several years that anytime we go anywhere with people, we have questions. We usually try to have questions lined up before. Sometimes we'll even go with the notepads or notes on our phone where we're going to ask him all
really
of these
good.
questions.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, we had a time with the prophet that we went and got to meet with he and his wife. And we had a list of questions. I still have those questions.
Yeah.
And we got answers. Get this. We got answers to those questions that to this day
Are still
the answers he gave were so relevant to our life and our heart and our ministry. They're still speaking to us this day.
Yeah.
I would not have gotten those answers, those words really, if I had not asked the questions.
Yeah.
And so even a prophet that can see things very, very clearly, especially the way that this one operates, and can see things so clearly, I still would not have gotten those answers guaranteed unless I had asked.
Yeah.
And so asking questions it's beyond imperative, but
Yeah.
but oftentimes people don't want to think for themselves. They
Yeah.
they kind of tend to, I don't know, just want things handed to them. And there's
Yeah.
not anything that we have that we haven't we haven't had to work for. We haven't had to work in the sense of like, working for your salvation or something stupid
Sure.
like that. I'm not saying that, but you have to put forth effort
Yeah.
for
We've
things to work in your
sought
life.
things out.
We've sought things out. We seek wisdom. We seek the Lord. The same way that you've done that, not just with us, but with other people as well. We've done that with people.
Yeah.
That's how it works. So I find the disconnect between the people that have something to offer and the people that need it is usually on the people that need it.
Yeah.
Because it goes both ways, but usually those people, the younger ones, they just don't know. You need to think, and then you need to ask, and then you need to listen, and then you need to apply.
Yeah.
Because then when you come back, great example is Mike and Carrie.
Yeah.
Mike and Carrie, I asked them when they were at when they were here last time.
Mm-hmm.
I said, why exactly Mike and Carrie are two of the busiest people in the world. I mean, you know them pretty well, right?
They got a lot going on.
Yeah. And I'm like, why do you guys come back here? Their answers were different. Carrie's like, I just felt like you were just like a brother to me. I just felt like you were like a brother.
Yeah.
And Mike's answer was, he said, well, honestly, you guys took what we shared with you and you did something with it.
Yeah.
See, if you're
So refreshing.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, awesome. We did something with it. But then, and it's not that they're not willing to show love and grace to people, but they can go anywhere in the world. And that said something to me, that what a mentor or somebody that has something to offer, what they value, because I'm the exact same way, what they value is, did you do something with what I gave you?
Yeah.
Because if you're not going to do something with what I gave you, I'm going to go invest my time into somebody that will do something with it.
Right.
And Liz and I are the same way. And we show love and grace and we'll pray for people, whatever. But I'm not going to invest a bunch of time into somebody that's not going to do something with what I give them.
Yeah.
If they're going to come around and try to suck my time and not actually take the wisdom that I give them, I love them and I'll hug them and whatever. But they're not going to sit around my dinner table
Right.
and take up precious time.
Yeah.
But if they want to eat of what God's given me, I give them everything I got.
Yeah, that's so good. And being really intentional to apply what you're learning and growing in is so important in any setting. And so I think for young people to say, hey, I'm going to spend time, I'm going to ask the right questions, I'm going to intentionally serve, and then I'm going to walk away from that. And I really am going to take time to apply. It's huge.
So good.
Huge
Yeah,
takeaway.
so good.
We're out of time here, but thank you guys so much for allowing me to interview you on your podcast. This has been
Now that we have that straightened
awesome.
out, you're welcome.
yeah, thank you guys so much. This has
Thank
been
you for
great.
being here,
Yes,
Sarah.
so good.
Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Family by Design. I pray that you were blessed as you listened to the word of the Lord for your life today. I want to encourage you to go on and leave us a review and a 5-star rating. If this ministry is blessing you, go to our website at www.wardmen.org. There you can find more resources, and you can also consider partnering with this ministry. If you like what we're doing, we just pray that you would at least join us in prayer and consider supporting us financially as we take the gospel deep into the hearts of people. Gospel preached, hearts awakened, and nations reformed.